For taking some time as always with us. Quite the development out of Washington. We're seeing this now split between President Trump and Elon Musk. That partnership they had that was so prominent throughout the election in the early days of the White House, the administration, seems like that has now dissolved. What is your takeaway with seeing not only these attacks against each other, but also these personal attacks in a way?
Mhm. Well, of course, we've all been fascinated by this as we watch a kind of internal political train wreck going on right before our very eyes. But I've been thinking about what other historical uh, events have happened that have seen the breakup between some really close political allies, especially if one of them is the president. And I remember back to Hamilton versus Jefferson. We all know that from the musical, but it didn't end so well for Alexander Hamilton. And then there was Truman and MacArthur, General Douglas MacArthur, sort of trying to manage foreign policy for the Truman administration, and Truman ended up firing him. And so, as I look back, usually it's the president that comes out on top on these. The only time I can think of that where that didn't happen was between Teddy Roosevelt and President Taft, when the Republican Party split. A new party grew up, and it ended up getting the Democrat Woodrow Wilson elected. That's the kind of thing that could happen here if the Republican Party takes sides and begins to split between the, say, fiscal conservative Elon Musk people versus the Trump people who want to hold MAGA together. And so you could see a real rift here, or as I see it, it probably means that Donald Trump will somehow come out ahead on this, as he almost always does, perhaps a little bit weakened, but it's a really interesting event to watch unfold.
We can possibly, especially when it comes to financials. And so financially, I had a lot of back in there from Elon Musk. But a lot of what caused this breakup, in a way, was President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It still needs to pass the Senate. So, what do you think this relationship and the ending of it really does the chances for this bill that the president's still very actively pushing for, Elon Musk now actively pushing against?
You're right. So the good thing about this dust up between Trump and Musk is that it's really about policy. And we're having a genuine policy debate in Congress, especially the Senate right now, between those who think that uh, Trump needs to get what he promised the electorate during the campaign and should be allowed to cut taxes and uh, increase some of the cuts that have been made in the federal government, but probably not as much as the tax cuts will take away from government revenue versus Musk saying there just isn't enough money out there. We have got to do better at cutting back government spending and bringing the budget to balance. And so he's picking up some allies in the Senate, especially Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, Rand Paul from Kentucky. And there's a genuine debate here over what is best for the American economy. I think that's actually a healthy debate to be having right now.
I think lastly here, when we look at the tariffs and the trade negotiations that are still ongoing, that's happening almost off to the side when here at home that budget battle continues. But when it comes to those tariffs and that trade, where do you see things ultimately ending up when it comes to the president's negotiations with these trade deals?
Well, anything, anything and everything is possible with Trump when it comes to trade. Right now, it's so confusing. You have to have a scorecard to figure out what's going on in what arena. This is an ongoing process. It is certainly going to affect the budget deficit. It may raise some revenue, but it also might slow the economy. So this is all very complex, and we're not exactly sure where we're going right now. It's a very fluid situation, as it always is with President Trump.
One of those will be following very closely. Dr. Brent Nelsen for us, as always. Thank you so much for your time and your insight.
Thank you.